Let's do this. All right, guys. Episode 22 already. We are past the age of being able to do what we want. And we're into the 20s now, which is amazing.
We're aging.
I actually heard a stat that if you have over 12 episodes of a podcast, like you're doing really well. I mean, I don't know how true this is, but usually a podcast only has 12 episodes before they give up and they're like, this isn't working out. We're at 22, guys. I mean,
you know why? It's because we just love doing this. You know, this is just enjoyable, right?
It's so fun. It's us. It's the group of friends that grew up together. For those of you who are brand new, and we wanted to just talk about how we grew up, highlight stories, talk about modern events, things that we have in common, things that we like to argue about, poke fun at each other, do guy things, and we do it all on this one. We're waiting for LeBeau though. What do we got for today's topics? All right, generational timelines. This was going to be fun. We're going to talk about if generational timelines actually, do you have to stay in them? Do they fit you? Can you be multi-generational, right? In your approach, what you like, how you live, all that stuff. Jokic and Westbrook, of course, the Nuggets. We'll be talking about them and that duo that's rising. Will the Chiefs, I don't even want to say Chiefs, bro. I don't want to say Kansas. I don't want to say any of that. But anyway,
and it does say, will the Chiefs with an asterisk win?
Yeah, we'll about that. Was the mega church the plan from the very beginning? We've got some cool videos to react to regarding that. And then Vince is going to highlight an influencer that he likes. And we're each going to take a week and highlight different influencers that we go back to over either we're entertained by them, we're educated by them, or we just can't get enough of them for whatever.
Is it Bobby Altoff? Are you highlighting Bobby Altoff?
I don't know who Bobby Altoff is.
Oh, well, okay.
I don't know. But how you guys doing, man? You guys doing all right?
We're doing great, man. Good as always.
Dude, so I know Florida got some snow recently. Was that true or was that fake news?
No, that was true. Northern Florida, the Panhandle, got like
crazy.
5 or 6 inches of snow. And I'm like, that crap better not get down here. That's all I'm saying. I know we're gonna be in trouble if Orlando, because I mean they have pretty much had to shut down the city. Same thing like with Louisiana, because they're not prepared for that. They don't have no snow plows or anything. So it's like, unless like 100 people like get bags of salt and start walking up and down the street.
It's crazy to think
they had the Bayou season salt out on the streets,
man.
The Cajun salt.
Have all the gators licking it up.
We actually went out to Sarasota for a couple of days this last weekend.
Jerk.
Little getaway.
Coming to Florida. What? So we were actually Saturday. Were you there Saturday?
Yes.
We were over there on Saturday, over in Tampa, actually. So
how far is that away?
It's I want to say half an hour, 45.
That's it?
Yeah.
Dude, I didn't know. I think Bree had mentioned it to Evie.
If you would have said something, we might have been able to get dinner or something. But you know, as jerky as you guys all are coming here,
jerky,
dude. I told you I was in town last time. You totally blew me off.
Shut up, dude. I was like, hey, can you get together tonight? And you're like, nope, not tonight. Can you get together tonight? Nope, not tonight. You're not important enough.
It was. Oh my God. It was a little.
As you were talking about the snow, though. Sorry, Joe. As you were talking about the snow events, I remember when I was in Austin one year, and they had just a tiny little bit of dusting. Like it wasn't. I don't even think it was recorded. It was just literally a dusting. It shut down the whole town. But it was a little bit different in Austin, and I don't know if it was this way in Florida too, but because of the humidity in Austin and it got so cold, everything was just black ice all over the streets. And naturally, like Florida, you know, Texas doesn't have any snow removal equipment. So it shut the city down. I was cracking up because it wasn't, I don't even think it was an inch. It was literally just a little hazing of snow. It was crazy. Anyway.
Dude,
yeah.
What's crazy though is it was like 50 degrees, but freezing. Like it was cold. It was a wet cold. It was
on Friday, right? Were you there on Friday?
Yes, Thursday
Yeah.
and Friday was like I was literally in jacket, just like winter gear, like straight up. It was
Yeah.
not comfortable at all.
Dude, so did you go to that big Gasparilla thing that they have every year?
No, we didn't because it was like, dude, that thing is insane. And my
It's like
sister,
Mardi Gras, isn't it?
it's like Mardi Gras. It's like pirates, pirate themed. So they go around the bay and with these pirate ships, and everybody's like half dressed, and it's like, how could I
It's
find
like
this?
your house on the weekends.
Ah, dude, just
After hours, your crib.
don't ever let your girls, if they want to go to Gasparilla, like
Don't
tell
do
them,
it?
nope,
Really?
you're not, dude. It's like
I
these
had
chicks are
friends
like half
actually go.
naked.
They set up a tent. I have friends out in Tampa, and they set up a tent. And my friend was like, "Dude, you should come next year, man. It's great. We have kids here at our tent. It's awesome. They love the beads. They love the pirates, but it's
It's a lot
pretty
of
debaucherous, huh?"
it's a lot of drinking, a lot of they carry around these things. They're called, I think they said they were Borgs, like these jugs of alcohol. Kids are just walking around with them drinking, and it's like, yeah, it's pretty intense. But we kind of stayed away from it. But it was good. My sister came in town, and she initially came in town for that, and we were all gonna go, but my sister gets freaked out at, like, because the mayor was saying, hey, we just want everybody to be on high alert, because of the stuff that happened in Louisiana.
Yeah.
We just want to be on alert here. And so she's like, we're not going. So she
So
wanted to
she
just,
flew all that way and then didn't end up going, huh?
well,
Then-
my niece goes to college out here, so she
Oh,
just
that's
wanted
right. Yeah, yeah.
it was a visit for her, and we had a good time still. My brother-in-law, his buddy Tony, lives on the East Coast, so he came over. Speaking of, real quick before we started with our topics, so there's three of them. My brother-in-law Sean, his buddy Tony, and their other friend Kent. And I'm like, man, we ought to have you guys on because they've actually been friends since like the fourth grade. So it would be cool to have those three guys on, kind of like swapping stories, and because that's what the show's about, lifelong friendship. And it'd be cool to get another perspective from another group of friends.
Yeah, I'd be curious to know which one is the Carlos, which one is the Joe, and which one is
Yeah.
the Vince in their friendship.
Yeah, I know. And there's only one LeBeau. We know that.
Yeah, there's only one. LeBeau's one of a kind for
He
sure.
is. So yeah, man, let's get to the first topic, the generational timelines. Kind of
Do it.
start talking about that. Hit that video.
Let's do it. Let me give me a second here. I need to cue it up because we
That
don't
was your
have a guy
cue.
we don't have a guy that does this.
That was your cue up.
Although look like he's trying to join. Hold up real quick. He's
Oh, is
working
he?
on it. Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
I'm gonna get ready to present while he is showing us.
So
Well,
nice that he
set up.
texted us like I asked him to.
Yeah. He's
That's what makes him one of a kind.
he's trying. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and get this video going. We will let's play it. Let's do it.
Let's go.
That's a 45-minute wait. Okay. Hey, is my table ready? How you doing? Table for two, please. That's 45 minutes. 45 minutes with all those tables available, huh? Yeah, unfortunately. Okay. Oh, we're short-staffed. Oh, yeah, okay. So I'm just not important. Can I speak to your manager? Good afternoon. Hey, how you doing? Great. Oh, good to hear. Hey, I need a table for two, please. It'll be 45 minutes. 45 minutes. That's it? Okay. Yeah, listen, if you need to push me down the list for any reason, I'll wait an hour, 2 hours. I don't care. I'm a pushover. Sorry. Hey, I checked it on the app like 45 minutes ago. Perfect. Right this way. Okay, great. What are all these old people doing here? I remember when they made Hawaii a state. Okay, sir, would you like a table? You got a lot of tattoos. Yeah. You frighten me because I think you might be a homosexual.
Oh man,
Jeez. All right.
you got tattoos. You might be a homosexual. That's
All
funny.
right.
How spot on are these like depictions of these generations, you think?
They were pretty spot on, dude. I'm not gonna lie. My favorite was the last guy, the old guy. But I'd say yeah, I definitely am the Gen Xer. That's me. Absolutely. Did you notice the Gen X guy was wearing the boomer's face on his t-shirt?
Was he?
Yeah, so that must have been his dad, maybe. I don't know. But I thought that was hilarious. They're pretty spot on. I definitely act like a Gen Xer. No apologies, man. That's just who I am. That's how we grew up.
So I feel that it is because I think we're all kind of like this. We're not like total a-holes, but we're kind of like sarcastic a-holes. Like, oh, so I'm not important enough, right? So all right, that's good. All right, I see. It's kind of like, you know.
Totally. This just happened to us a couple of Fridays ago. We went to the White Chocolate Grill and put our name in. Said it would be an hour. We went to walk around. You know, they said they would text us. We have the number. They do all that fun stuff. We come back about 40 minutes later, and I check in because you know, technology can fail, whatever. And they're like, "No, you still have 20 minutes." And I'm like, so you know for sure in 20 minutes a seat is going to be open. Like there can't be one. And he was like,
It's totally like that. What that guy
was
spot on.
How can you know that it's exactly 20 minutes, right? An hour passes. We ended up being there for 90 minutes.
Oh,
I checked three more times after that. And I told the check-in lady, I don't even know what they're called, the host. I said, "Hey, we're going to leave." She goes, "Okay." And I'm like, okay, like we've been waiting 90 minutes and you're just saying okay, and here I am getting pulled out the door by the angry wife that's upset and justifiably so. So yeah, it's all me.
I feel like we're kind of jerks because we were probably, and I know I'm making a very general statement here, we were probably the last generation where our parents traumatized us. You know what I'm saying? Like I've never been as harsh on my kids as my mother was with me. And my mother loved me, right? But and I was a spoiled one of the bunch, but I still got the chancla, I still got the belt.
You get smacked with a bag of burritos before you know it.
Yeah, she'll throw whatever she can get her hands on. But that might be why. That might be why we're jerks. We're the last great generation to be traumatized by our parents.
Speaking of jerks, what's up, Bo?
What up? I made it.
What's up, man?
What the going on in here?
So, did you get a chance to watch any of those videos on WhatsApp?
Bro, no.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Turn your
my
mic
video,
up, Mr. Hair.
generational video though. No,
I'm going to say LeBeau falls into that very last guy category with the glasses, with the white hair, and he's all, "You have a lot of tattoos. Are you gay?
homosexual."
Are you homosexual?"
Dude,
No, I'm not that bad.
So I mean, how accurate do you think that video is, Bo?
I thought they were pretty spot on. I thought they were very accurate. It's funny that the what is it, the Gen Zers, they're like, "Where are all these old people waiting around for?"
Dude,
Checked them like an hour ago.
you know, and I feel like there are some like kids or there's some adults that they act like they're not in their generation. They act like a millennial, like a boomer acts like a millennial. You're like, dude, you're in the wrong like age gap. Let's put you over here because that's not where you belong.
Yep.
But because I've seen it before too, and I'm like, dude, you're not or even somebody who's in our generation, a Gen Zer. You're like, dude, act your generation. Act like a Gen Zer, please. Stop acting like a wuss.
Gen Xer, you mean?
Or Gen Xer, I'm sorry.
it sometimes comes in handy to act like a Gen Zer when you're a Gen Xer, though. Remember, Carlos, when I caught that flat tire on 225?
Yeah.
And you were like, "Oh, dude, just call an Uber. They'll pick us up on the side of the highway. They'll take us to go get a jack, and then we'll come back." Remember that?
Yep. That's how you
So
do it,
sometimes
baby.
it pays to act like a Gen Zer when you're a Gen Xer. You got to come up with those app privileges.
Yeah.
If there was somebody that I would assume or guess is not in their right generation, I'd say it's Joe. And I mean this because of your techiness. You're definitely more of a Gen Zer kind of guy. You like tech, you like the apps, you like the widgets. Whereas I use them because they're effective, but I don't love using them.
I love using them.
Yeah.
I was thinking about you the other day, Joe, using that technology like back in the day when you used to have like your car used to always have a sound system in it. And it not only did it like was it the sound system, it was like it had to be like hitting hard. Like it wasn't like all the time since we were young, you had sound system. What is that? The 90s?
90.
Crazy messing around with technology and hooking it up to your car and shorting things out and
Oh,
blowing up amplifiers, blowing up batteries, blowing up brains on a car like in the 90s, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Carlos
think
and I were talking before we started recording about all the trial and errors of making a podcast and all that fun stuff that we're learning. It's fun.
Well, you even think I think the dynamic of this friendship has kind of carried us as a group. It carried us through our time with GNC and everything, because a lot of the faults or the lack thereof that we had, it's like each of us had that I guess that strength that kind of carried us through the time on tour, everything,
Yeah.
I think what really carried us, and this is a little off topic, but what really carried us, I think, was just accepting, who we were, like, to one another. Like, what's a good example of that? Like, well, me, right? So I realized I'm not an easy guy to get along with, and you guys got along with me because you lived and accepted the fact that I'm not easy to get along with, and that's awesome, right?
Well,
So
it was like, how you have a helium filled balloon and you kind of have to like every once in a while just let the air out. It's kind of what we were there for,
That's
or else you
awesome.
would have just floated away into whatever.
That's true.
Well, here's the beauty of it. Today, what we did back then is celebrated and highlighted. We accept and we blah, blah, but we just did it like naturally. Like we just did it organically, which is something I think we could be proud of, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It wasn't a thing to have to accept people. We just did, it didn't matter.
Yeah. That, all of it being said, go Gen X, that's who we are.
I have to say, and obviously I'm partial, but I think Gen X really is the best generation. I mean,
yeah.
When you look at it, when you look at the facts, Gen X is the best for sure.
So Bo,
and we will not be shy about that. That's the thing about Gen X too, is that, hey, all right, cool. You think you're cool, whatever. You're not. Gen X is where it's at. I'm sorry. Like,
and we've seen the birth of technology all the way through today.
Yeah.
Right.
And we still know where we
yeah,
came
we were
how we grew up.
We missed the light bulb, but come on, what what I'm saying? No technology, no nothing there, but
it's fire.
There's not too many people though that can say, you were around for the pager, the birth of the cell phone, all the way up
The internet, dude.
Yeah,
We were around for the pager, for the advent of the
internet. Yeah.
We kicked off Oregon Trail, Carmen and San Diego.
Let's go. Preach.
Yeah.
Pitfall.
Pitfall. Come on.
Gen X is the best because we fall kind of in that happy place where we're equal parts rugged and antique and make your own way, and equal parts innovation, equal parts technology, etc. Right? So we're kind of the best of both worlds. I think that's what makes us the best.
Love it. Love it. All right. we could talk forever about that. In fact, I mean, if you really think about it, that is kind of the birth of this whole thing we're doing now. Because
we'll continue. Yeah, we'll continue many. And I was gonna tell Bo before you came on. I was telling him that I got together with my brother-in-law and his buddy Tony, and he has another buddy Kent. They were friends since they were like in 4th grade, and so I was telling him, I'm like, it would be cool to have you guys on to get another, because that's what this podcast is about. Lifelong friends. So, and they're also Gen X. So, man, the Gen X power.
Let's go.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Hit us up if you agree. All right, what do we have? Jokic and Westbrook.
Jokic West.
Yeah, dude, they are awesome, man. I really love the fact that Westbrook is shining. I said it before, I'll say it again. Everybody loves a comeback story. And the guy, as a starter, he's doing his job, man. He's hitting those threes. He's being a leader. He's playing whatever role they need him to play. And man, you got to love that. And Jokic, I think, made a very powerful statement a couple of nights ago when they played and they asked him about, Westbrook and some of the ups and downs that he's had. And Jokic admitted, or opined rather, that other teams just haven't been able to let him be himself, right? They've tried to really can him. They tried to limit him, and you just got to let him be him, and he's going to shine. And I agree with that 100%.
Dude, I get fired up every time I see these videos. I want you to play the video that I sent you, Joe, because, man, so awesome to see.
Let's do it.
Nice. Woo.
Jokic turn, shoot. Got it. Top of the key. Got it. Jokic around the corner. On the run. Westbrook all the way.
Love it, dude. And they're heating up too when it counts. You know what I mean? Like as the season goes on, I love that they're heating up as the games start to become more important. Like that's what it needs to be, and not the other way around.
Yeah, and it's I mean, right now Jamal Murray, he's kind of going through his ups and downs of the season, and it's so good to see another guy like Westbrook step in and just be able to be like, hey, I got you guys. It's not about me, it's about all of us, dude. If they could get Aaron Gordon healthy, if they could get Jamal fully healthy, I mean, dude, I think the team's unstoppable when those 4 guys, and Christian Brown's actually doing really good right now too. I mean, he's averaging like 20 points a game.
He's a beast. Yeah.
So it's good to see, man. I mean, I know people that are outside of the Denver city listening to this are probably like, oh, here we go again talking about this. But dude, there's so many podcasts, so many shows on TV that undeniably can't stop talking about Jokic, Westbrook.
He really is arguably the best player in the NBA.
Yeah, he's having a historic season again. It's like, how many historic seasons is this guy going to have? So it's great to witness. It's great to just, I mean, it's cool to be a fan of something that, like, all those years of just, the Nuggets. It's, man, they're struggling again, but they've always had these fun players throughout the years, but it's like nothing like this right now.
Nada.
I love that Westbrook could cap his legacy with a championship this year. That really would be amazing because that's really the only thing that's missing, right? Is he's got some great records. He's got some great accolades as a player. He's just missing that chip.
Yeah. Same thing with Jokic being the all-time greatest basketball player, right? He has season after season record-breaking seasons, but the one thing he's missing is those multiple championships. Like you get to Jordan, like 6-7 rings. Like you got to be to that level, dude. You got to you have to win those championships, to set yourself apart from everyone else. Because I mean, Michael Jordan may have lackluster. Not that he's lackluster, but he might have a lackluster season compared to Jokic's numbers. But dude backs it up with the championship. But he needed someone, and he had Scottie Pippen, right? Like LeBron had Dwayne Wade and Manny Ginobili and what's his name, Robinson were together. Like you need that extra little partner. Maybe Westbrook's Jokic's partner to start going on a good 3-4 ring run.
Yeah, and like I said, it's like so good when you have Jamal. If he starts to hit like that, he's dangerous.
Dude.
I mean, Gordon. It's like, man, they have so many key players that if they're all like firing on same cylinder, they're unstoppable.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, without question.
Go Nugs.
Yeah.
Go Nugs.
Speaking of 2 or 3 rings.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Do we have to do this segment?
I want to do it, dude. What
Did you guys watch the last game, by the way?
Yeah.
Yeah. Play that video, Joe.
Yeah, I saw the video. I got to breathe before we start.
Everybody watched that, and everyone was going for the other team. It is what it is, but
yeah,
a lot of America.
I think we need to differentiate here because I don't think that the people that were upset aren't upset with Chiefs fans. They're upset with the refs, and they're upset. I mean, the Chiefs. No team in their right mind is ever going to bring attention to it, right?
No,
so not so much even the Chiefs, but more so the refs, and it's just ridiculous. Go ahead.
All right, let's do it.
This one's very tough.
He's laughing. He's having a good time. Good for you. Yeah, laugh it up. Enjoy your night.
Come on, Happy. Concentrate.
Stupid.
Easy. If you can't beat the clown, how you going to beat Shooter McGavin?
Yeah. You're gonna die, clown.
You're gonna die, clown.
That's a good one.
Yeah, there were a couple of really weird calls, I think, in the last game. And yeah, I mean, at this point, I'm more interested in watching the refs and seeing what type of egregious behavior they'll have as opposed to watching the game for the game, which is the wrong reason to watch football.
Terrible.
It's come down to that.
I'm really convinced that the Chiefs have the Floyd Mayweather effect. Do you know what I'm talking about? Everybody wanted to see Floyd get knocked out. And that's the whole reason why his numbers of his fights were so high. Everybody just wanted to see him get knocked out. And so when the people are like, oh, well, people are still watching the Chiefs, and it's like, yeah, because people want to watch them lose,
Yeah. That makes sense. I agree with that.
But that's kind of the magic of marketing and PR. I think that people flock to see who they hate because, to your point, they want to see him fail, right? They want to see him flat on their backs. Will it happen in the Super Bowl? I think the Eagles have a great chance. I think that with Hurts and with Saquon, I think they have a shot, man. I really do.
I think they do.
We'll see. The last time around, they didn't have Saquon, right? So I think this time around, it's going to be a much different ball game. And if the Chiefs are going to have a shot, I think the refs will have to, come into effect there. And I'm not saying that in a disparaging way towards Chiefs fans or to even the Chiefs themselves, but if the Chiefs win, I have to say it's going to take some funny business.
I would I don't know why I think about these things all the time because I'm so upset about these refs and their stupid calls. But if I was a coach and I knew that this NFL isn't rigged, we're just trying to play the game, to pull all my players off the field and say we're not continuing this game until you guys get it right. And you got a stadium full of fans. You got how many millions of people watching. How much would that affect them of saying, let's just get on with the game. You know, if nobody wants to call any calls, it's, you know, I don't know. I just it obsessed me so much because you see the blatant like disregard of the dude. He had that first down on fourth down. That was a first down.
Yeah, and the other one was a dropped cut pass.
Clearly,
that
dude.
ball
It was
hit the
clear.
ground.
It hit the freaking ground.
And then the last play of the game, they pulled a flag up because they were like, "Oh, there's a flag." All of a sudden, there's no flag. What was
Yeah.
the flag?
Yeah.
Were they just? Was it a flag just to make sure? Like, if he caught the ball, they were going to say, "Oh, it was holding." You know, we threw the flag. You know, that's it. Dude, drives me nuts, man. And I don't believe the NFL's rigged, but I believe there's favorable calls for certain teams, and Kansas City is getting the favorable calls.
Can you
Can you
guys
think of
watch
any other? Can you think of any other teams in the recent past that had that type of effect on referees?
Not like
did you
this.
guys- did you guys watch the Eagles game?
Yeah.
Did you see where they were gonna do the tush push, and then they were like, they like jumped off sides 3 times in a row. They were half the distance to the goal line 3 times in a row, and then the referee came on the microphone and said, if they jump off sides again, they've been warned that we're gonna award them the touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't
Dude,
see anything
that
wrong
was
with that.
insane too. I was like, I seen the other side of the ball, right? Like I seen, you know, they do that all the time. They do that tush push all the time, and I'm sick of that play myself.
So am
I
I.
could see on Washington's side, bro. Screw you. I'm just gonna keep jumping off sides then, because it's not like you can go anyways, and you're
Yeah.
not gonna get a first down anyways. But when they were like, we're gonna award the Eagles a touchdown, I was like, wait, what? When
I
did this
didn't
rule come into effect?
see. I'm on the other side. I didn't see anything wrong with that. I felt like, well, yeah, you can't just keep jumping off of sides, and eventually you're gonna. But dude, I think it's a that play, and not everybody could do it. It's because the Eagles have an amazing offensive line, and that's the biggest thing. That's why Saquon is his rushing yards are just. I mean, that he's a great running back too, but when you have an offensive line like that is able to do that tush push the way they do, and then you got everybody on the same page. It's I don't know, but it's still I don't know if it's because it's unfair because they're just doing it all the time and they could do it. I mean, obviously Josh Allen didn't do it good enough to make it totally convincible.
Well, I mean, that's just it. I don't know how much more convincible it can be. Like,
Yeah, I don't know about that.
if a person watching TV can see that it's a first down, the ref who's on the field with the perfect vantage point, it should be an easy call for them to make.
Well, the expert ref said it. The commentators said it. Oh, that's a first down, you know. But I don't know. It's just, dude. I don't know if it's so much a Broncos fan, but I see it around the nation. You know, everybody's just has.
Well,
this,
yeah. I mean, it's big news, right? It's headlines for a good reason. I think that fans want to see good games. They want to see good calls. They want to see competitive games, you know, that are actually competitive. So when you have terrible calls like that, I think it ruins the game and it ruins the experience for the fans, you know? Like you don't want to see a team win because of bad calls. That's ridiculous.
So let me ask you this. How many seasons would it take for fans to just say, I'm done with NFL?
I don't think it'll ever happen, dude.
No, I don't think
No,
so.
I mean,
eventually, this is gonna. Like,
it did happen in the NBA. We talked about that last time. NBA is significant.
Well, I think that there are other. I think there are other factors that are impacting the NBA's viewership. But even at that, they're still making
besides their
over fist and money. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even they're calling Patrick Mahomes the LeBron of the NFL right now because the way he flops and the way he.
Did you see that video where when the Eagles or wait, who did they just play again?
The Washington
Commanders.
Bills. Oh, the Bills.
Yeah.
The first time when they beat them, how
Yes.
Mahomes left like cussing and all mad, and then this time the opposite.
Yeah, he was calling it
professional.
He was saying, "Oh, that was a BS call, man. That call should have never been made." And then this time, Josh is just like, "Congrats, man. Go get him." You know, it's like
that's it. The difference in character, for sure.
I mean, here's the thing, though. Patrick Mahomes, love him or hate him, he is a really good quarterback. He's like a generational talent. There's no arguing that.
He might go. He might go down as the best of all time. It's the greatest of all time.
I mean, he's got a ways to go. He's got a ways to go, but he could make a run for it. Sure. You can't argue with that. But I think that when you have refs making bad calls in his team's favor time after time after time, I have to tell you, I think that's tarnishing his legacy.
Well, that's why I put on this board, I put an asterisk next to will the Chiefs win, because I mean, when all is said and done, if this next game is won by the refs making these bad calls, dude, there has to be an asterisk next to that three-peat, because you don't let that happen. How many multiple games?
I guess what I was trying to say is, if I'm Patrick Mahomes, I'm like chewing out those refs. Like I can win this game on my own, right? I need you to like not be so jumpy with the flags.
Yeah,
it's not gonna happen.
And not so. Yeah, we are winners. We did find a way. We found a way. It's like, come on, like let's be a little humble. Let's just admit what's happening.
He's like, State Farm needs me to win. I need to win, refs.
You sounded like Jar Jar Binks, bro.
Oh my god! Yeah, all right, let's move on. We can talk about this forever, but
I'm here.
I like. Wait, last thing about the Chiefs.
I'm here.
Last
what
thing
I
about
want
the
to say is
Chiefs.
I'm here.
I'm here.
How annoying is Travis Kelce, though? Seriously,
I'm here. He's that's my brother. That's my brother. Don't talk
Like,
about my
homie.
brother.
Don't talk about my brother that way, man.
I'm talking about my brother.
You guys, that's uncanny. That's funny, Patrick Mahomes.
Dude, as much as Kelce is unlikable, I really like him because he's just a competitor.
Travis Kelce?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't
Travis
stand the
Kelce's like
dude,
the
man.
fat Miss Piggy, bro. He's like, Kermie, don't try to mess with me. Kermie, I'm wide open down the middle.
I'll get it to you.
Kermie, I'm wide open down the middle.
I see you. I'll get it to you.
Dude, yeah, no, I can like tolerate Patrick Mahomes. Travis Kelce just like gets under my skin for some reason.
Yeah.
It's because every time I score a touchdown, I have to celebrate.
Yeah. Agreed. All right, moving on. All right, so one of the topics that we want to talk about too is the mega church. Was that intended to be? Like, was this God's plan all along? And Vince has found some killer reaction videos today for us. So props to Vince. I'm going to put up another video here. We'll react to it. LeBeau hasn't seen it. We got a chance to preview it a little bit. Give me a second. Let me check it. Let me get it.
Get it. Got it. Go.
All right, let's do it.
For God, try our coffee. It is lukewarm. Don't both.
Let me
Guest, first time guest, put our campus to the test. Scan the QR code and check in, and we'll spam you all the rest. Flashing lights, choking fog, we do all of this for God. Try our coffee, it is lukewarm. Don't believe me? Ask our intern. First we sing, then we sit, then two people yap a bit. Every Sunday experience is a hit. Go on, open your wallet and give us 10%. Be our guest, first time guest. Lights go dim, screen comes down, feel the good vibes all around. There's our pastor on the big screen from the main campus across town. Just relax and endure his misusing of scripture. I'm on staff, I'm not complaining. Our pastor is entertaining. Are we non-denominational? You bet. But we used to be Baptist. Now we're the fastest growing church in the U.S. Come on, become a member. We'll do life together. Be our guest. If you're stressed, volunteer and serve, I suggest. Be our guest. Be our guest. First time guest.
All right. And that's where it ends.
Pretty accurate.
It's pretty accurate. Both
Pretty
sides.
accurate.
Coming from the weekly churchgoer there.
I'm
Oh,
always the
that's
first-time
messed
guest.
up, dude.
My bad.
Calling him out.
Always the first time guest.
You're always the first time.
I mean, that looks accurate to me. I don't know. I mean, you guys
My mind is racing right now for a couple of reasons. One is I don't believe that the megachurch model is a biblical model. Too many things can go wrong there. We've seen it time and time again, right? Where megachurch pastors, their humanity overwhelms them, and they end up, compromising themselves and their flocks, their families, etc., which can happen in a small church as well. I'm not saying that, but because they're on a larger platform, right? It just goes the reaction or the impact just goes a lot further. The other thing that I'm thinking about, though, is I want to say it was the Apostle Paul speaking with the Philippian church. And Joe, correct me here, fact check me here.
Yeah.
You're talking about what we just talked about last week.
Yes.
And so essentially, Paul is telling the people in the Philippian church that, irrespective, and of course I'm paraphrasing here, but irrespective of how people act or, how they hear about the gospel, whether we agree with it or not, whether we like the model or not, the important thing is that God and the message of salvation is being carried out, right? That Christ is being exalted. And that's kind of what it boils down to in my mind, even though, it's not. I'll tell you, my family and I, we would never go to a mega church just because we wouldn't thrive in that environment. We need to have relationships with people. We need to be able to, know people's names. We need to be able to interact with people at a meaningful level. And it can't just be surface. I'm reminded of, when you think of a mega church, right? They tend to spread their roots wide over the surface, right? And they cover a lot of ground, but it doesn't seem like those roots ever go deep, right? And so when the storms come, when the trials come, when the tribulation comes, of course, those foundations aren't very stable because those roots never really grow deep. But coming back to the message of Paul, if Christ is being exalted, if the message of salvation is being carried out, you can't entirely be mad at it, right? You have to extend some sort of grace unto it. But I don't think that that's the original plan, right? That God had in mind back in the day, as he was preaching the sermons out, in the dusty fields, as believers were getting together in small groups, right, at the birth of the church. So anyway, that's my opinion, my 2 cents.
So I'm gonna say that I want to hear your reaction last, Joe, because you are a pastor, and so I want to hear your reaction. I'm gonna respond. So I I have a couple different perspectives. So I really believe the mega church can be effective. I've seen at points the mega church be effective in way of gathering, using it as a gathering point. But I think the biggest way it could be effective is because when you have small groups within that mega church that are consistently like meeting, or they're part of a each there's these groups that commune together to kind of build up the church, the groups that they use, the missionary, whatever it is, utilizing those groups to build up community. And if a mega church is actually doing that, it's like, man, the um the impact a mega church could have in doing something like that, in doing missionary, in doing um doing these small things within the church, but gathering on Sundays and having a place. Because I think everybody's goal, even with anything, you're using it kind of as a business model. You want your business to grow, and should a church be used as a business model? It's like, man, everybody wants to see something grow into this. I mean, Joe's said it before. You love to have the best tech, the best uh, things to show your church. I want the best for my church. I want them to, when they come and have the best experience, I don't want it to be like, oh, what the heck is going on? They're just come in and be able to just experience God, because everything's in place. Everything is set the way you feel that they're going to have the best experience coming in. The music, everything, everything is set to that point. But if everything's just left, like you said, everything is kind of on the surface with everything, that's when it's like, oh, well, this is just kind of a factory, or punching the clock. We're doing this right now, and everything has to be set as a business. We're doing everything on the surface, and everything has to look perfect on that surface. But I don't really care how things look as far as your roots growing. Who it doesn't matter as long as everything looks good. And that's where it could be dangerous. And
Yeah, I guess, I would have to ask the question why, like, why do you want a big building? Why do you want big campus? Why do you want to have fog? Why do you want to have lights? Why do you want to have loud music? It's not to say that music is bad. I love music. I love loud music. In fact, I tell my kids, don't listen to music unless you're going to listen to it loud. Literally, you can ask them. I tell them that. But when it comes to the church model, you do have to ask why, right? Because what is the purpose for the church, right? And it's not to say that God can't work through anything, and that's why I come back, to Paul's words, where if Christ is being preached, if the message of salvation is being carried out, then it's not entirely bad.
yeah.
But you do have to ask the question why, because oftentimes I think that the mega church, whether it's intentional or unintentional, becomes a shrine to the leaders that are leading that flock.
Well, you see it more and more. I mean, it's because social media has made having a voice more prevalent than ever. That this is the way people perceive that video, is the way people perceive the mega church. They perceive it as just a big show. You might as well have it on Broadway over there in New York. Just because it's the same thing. That's the way they
Different.
perceive it.
Yeah, and it's like different folks, different strokes, right? Everybody sees and internalizes information and experiences differently. For me, I would rather have a boring, hard pew to sit on with a Bible and a preacher that is going to teach me something deep and profound that's going to help me grow in my faith. I don't care about the fog, at least not at church. If I'm going to a Toby Mac concert, yes, I want the fog. If I'm going to, a Red Rocks concert, yes, I want the loud music. But at church, I want to have the substance. I want to have the stuff that is actually going to help me the next time that I'm faced with addiction. I want the stuff that's going to help me the next time that I'm faced with, the choice whether to compromise my faith or not, right? I want the stuff that's going to help me move in the right direction, not not the experience so much at
As
church.
As Nacho would say, give me the new cheese. How about you, Bo? Is this kind of has this been your perception over the years?
No. I mean, I think that the video was pretty spot on from my experience with a megachurch or what I perceive it as to be. But honestly, at the end of the day, I'm going to withhold judgment. I'm not going to judge anybody or why people do what they do or anything like that. I'm ultimately not the judge of all that. So
I just
opinion.
I would just hope that this is kind of I mean, because mega churches have been criticized over the years, but stuff like this, you would think that it would kind of open eyes. I would hope that it would open the eyes of a mega church pastor, board, group, whatever, to say, hey, maybe we need to just get back to the basics of things, you know. Joe?
Let me just say one last thing, and then Joe, you can take over here. But you know, in my opinion, as your church grows, right, at some point you have to start thinking about planting other churches. So rather than, you know, growing your building, why don't you invest into planting another church, right? Why don't you invest into starting another campus when you get to a certain number, or when you have, you know, a certain amount of influence? Why continue to build a shrine? Why continue to build this, you know, this show, this experience, when you have the resources, right, to kick off a ministry, another ministry that is going to do the groundwork, that is going to do the deep rooted work that really needs to be done in people's lives? Because let's face it, at the end of the day, dude, when people are faced with those tough choices, you know, when marriages are falling apart, when kids are committing suicide, that show is not going to help anybody. But it's the deep faith, it's that deep perseverance that's going to help people carry on. Sorry, go ahead, Joe.
Oh no, yeah, I'm enjoying the conversation. I like it. I mean, I've pastored a small church, as you guys know, for 21 years now. I wanted to show you that scripture real quick, though, just so we have context. But Carlos, you already paraphrased it, but here's how it goes. To be sure, some preach Christ out of envy and rivalry, but others out of goodwill. These preach out of love, knowing that I am appointed for the defense of the gospel. The others proclaim Christ out of selfish ambition, not sincerely thinking that they will cause me trouble in my imprisonment. Why does it matter? Only that in every way, whether from false motives or true, Christ is proclaimed, and in this I rejoice. Yes, I will continue to rejoice. And so here's Paul again. We already talked about it, saying it doesn't even matter. There's going to be people, you know, to start with, I would just say in any kind of system of faith, belief, organization, generation, as we were talking about, you're always going to have the crazies, the what we would call normals, the devout. You know, you're going to have every version of that. And so I would start off by saying you can't avoid that part of it. And so I'm a fan, like I'll just say this, I'm a fan of any size of church that is proclaiming the gospel and doing a good job. Now, with that said, again, there are a lot of stuff that is just crazy that happens. To Carlos's point earlier, man gets filled with ego, with whatever that might be, and they fall, and it ends up hurting more people. But to, you know, your point again, Carlos, this could happen at any level, you know, as far as what that, you know, how that can happen. But I see the mega church, you know, they can have a greater impact on outreach, you know, because they have more funds. Maybe their quality of worship's better. They have more offerings of programs or different ministries that they can help people with. Maybe more humanitarian aid when something really happens. Maybe they have more resources for that. You know, hopefully they have strong leadership and teaching, like we've been talking about. Not always the case. And then, you know, most mega churches, from what I've seen, they went from like this large scale of let's see how big of a building we can get to. Let's just have multiple services. So there's maybe 200 or 300 in at each service where you could actually see everybody in the room, potentially connect.
Or campuses.
Yeah. And then they have, the small group model, which allows people to connect personally, regardless of the size of the church. So again, we could say, yeah, there's lack of personal connection. Nobody gets to talk to the pastor because he's in the green room, celebrity. He's a celebrity culture pastor, all of that. Financial stress of like a crazy, I can't even imagine, the bills in a building like that. Volunteer leadership could be a burnout. Like there's all kinds of things that could happen, but I would echo all of those same things that could happen. And I would say they can happen in a small church as well, because you only have one pastor, you only have one group of leaders, or you only have, so many ministries and people doing it over and over and over again. Whereas I feel like that can, this burnout thing, this, any of it could happen at any level, I guess, is where I'm at. Do I like, I don't know, I'm kind of getting random here, but do I like technology? Yeah. Do I like using it at a high level? Do I think it's going to attract people who are used to seeing these things on YouTube, used to seeing, polished, productions? Yes, I think there is room for that, and there needs to be room for somebody doing that at a high level. Again, hopefully it's all the right motives and everything. But one of the things that I've always thought about over the years as a pastor, because, over the years you get people to say, oh, that Catholics are this and they're this and they're that. And I'm like, there's a lot of denominations under the umbrella of Christianity. We could say, Baptist, Catholicism, Protestant, Methodist. I mean, you guys, what else, guys? There's a ton of them. Presbyterian, they would all fall under the umbrella of Christianity, meaning that the core beliefs, the foundational beliefs are biblically accurate. The creation of the earth, the Christ being born through the Virgin Mary, living a perfect life, dying and raising back to life. Like those are all foundational truths that all of these denominations, these movements believe under the umbrella of Christianity. And I think personally that somebody may feel more drawn to somebody that is wearing like a robe, than somebody that's wearing a t-shirt, or somebody may be more drawn to this production more than they might the guy with just the guitar and the drummer that can't keep a beat. Like there's like so many different things that when God uses, like he just uses all of this beautiful mess to find his way to us, and then for us to find some kind of connection to the thing that connects us to him, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Kind of necessary. Like,
it makes sense, but I don't have to like it.
Yeah,
because I'm not God, right? And God obviously, can use he used the donkey, right? A jackass in the Bible. Like he can use anything for his glory, and it's going to be awesome. Do I want to be that jackass? No, I don't. I would rather be something else. I would rather be a refined tool. You know what I mean? Like, so anyway, all that to say, you're absolutely right. There is space for a mega church, and there is, as I mentioned early on, they can be effective in disseminating the message and the gospel, the message of salvation. Long term, when you think about what it is to be a Christian, and we've all been Christian for a very long time. We've all been through some shit, if you don't mind me saying. We have all gone through it, right? And so when you talk about, you were late on that. When you talk about what life consists of, you need the deep stuff, man. You need substance. It's the substance that's going to help you come back. It's the substance that's going to help you keep the faith after your life becomes a country song, right? After
that's,
your wife
I
leaves
mean,
you, after your dog dies, and after all that stuff, right? It's the deep stuff that's going to keep you in the faith.
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying, and I agree 1,000%. I just don't. I guess some of the mega churches that I admire or follow or influence from to a degree. Obviously it's different, you know, the context is different, but they do go deep, you know? And so while I know there are several out there that don't, the ones that I guess that I've been influenced by do get into the stuff that not everybody wants to talk about, you know? So I don't know.
I think what Carlos, what I think you're trying to get to the point is, and even like I respect the whole Christian thing, right? And being that way. But even if you're not Christian, I think what you're trying to reach for and what would work best on the megachurch level is, and when a megachurch works its best is when ultimately there's community. Like when there's community and everyone's able to connect on a deeper level, whether that you're a Christian or you're not a Christian, or you're in a mega church or you're not in a mega church, it's that community, that connection is what matters the most at the end of the day, right? That's where you really get fed and you really like have the support, and you really have like community is really what I think is most important in our lives, going through these trials and tribulations that you mentioned, but us having this community of the four of us, or us, you know, having the community of our families and stuff too. That's really what honestly keeps us going, is the community of our loved ones, the community of the people that are close to us.
Well, and community is going to keep you there, but the message has to go deep enough to change you, right, Carlos? I mean,
yeah, absolutely. And I guess here's the divide that I have with mega churches. You need to water down the message so much for it to be appealing to the masses. Because if you're going to be honest and truthful and stick to the actual word of God, man, there are going to be people that you thought were Christians, that you thought were believers, that are going to like despise what just came out of your mouth, even though it's the word.
You think
right?
people,
because they can't take it.
Water it down? You think they water it down for?
I do. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
There are that, like, I mean, it's just like,
dude, you can preach motivation only so much, bro.
Yeah.
You can talk about it's a great day. It's, you know, hey, you know, victory is yours so many times.
Right.
But then what about the 99% rest of the Bible, where Paul is getting bitten by snakes, where apostles are being crucified upside down, right? Like, what about those scriptures? I'm using very, very high level examples here, but it's not all about motivation. It's not all about feel good, right? It's work being a Christian. Like, there's some real spiritual and emotional work to being a lifelong Christian. And I feel like in order for you to attract the numbers to be considered a mega church, you do need to stay on that motivational tip. You do need to keep it positive, right? In order for people to want to come to your church.
Yeah, I commend you, Joe, because you've over the years, you know that you have to give these uncomfortable messages sometimes, but they're through biblical principle that you've been taught over the years, that you know these are messages that need to be heard, instead of just saying, well, let me just kind of skip around it and try and not to convey it in such a harsh way because I don't want to offend anybody. Because I mean, that's kind of what a lot of churches will do just to keep their congregation. And not saying that people are saying, well, I don't want to come anymore, but there's that chance. But more than so, you get a lot of people who are like, man, I really need to hear that because these are where my convictions are. And it's where God is calling out, you know, in part of my life, there's messages that I really believe that we need, like Carlos is saying, that when we need messages that are, the roots are deep, you know, that's sometimes we don't get that from some of the mega churches because they're not willing to put that out there because they're afraid of detracting.
Yeah. And without getting too far off too, I would also say that there are preachers that go deep, but they defend an arguable point in the Bible and they pass it off as truth. You know what I mean? And so then you've got somebody trying to go deep that's preaching a compelling message that can be argued theologically, right? And so there's a lot of different routes that go with it. But I do think it's one of the things that I've been hyper aware of, although I'll tell it like it is. I am aware that there could be somebody that isn't familiar with Christianity. So for example, if I was preaching about hell, and I'd say, look, we're going to talk about hell today because the Bible talks about it, because it's a real place. And if you're here today and you're not a Christian, I want you to just listen to what we believe about it and let that, you learn about what we're doing. So that, like, I think it's important, if you do want to reach more people that are outside, because we are called to reach more people, that you do have to add things like that into your messaging, if you will, or to your message, so that you, not so you don't offend, but so you know that, they know that I know that you're there, but I'm still going to tell the truth.
It's a good way of putting
what we believe. And you may not believe that, but hear me out today, because I'm going to tell you why we believe that. Right. And so, I've made a point to that, especially when I know somebody's bringing a visitor, somebody's there. Like, I want so badly for them to find Christ, that I would never water it down, but I would bring it in a way, hey, maybe you've never heard of the gospel. Maybe you've never read the Bible before. This is the first time you're hearing this. Know that this is what Christians believe. Know that we will die for this. Know that this is what, and kind of help them understand. So I don't know.
And we talk about it all the time, about in any part of life, but especially in your walk, your faith, is you just want authenticity. And that's kind of, we talk about it all the time on this podcast, about we just want to see something that's genuine, something that, we could actually sink our teeth into, because that's all we want. And as we get older, we realize what is and what isn't, and that's kind of why I think, Carlos, you've kind of deterred from that model, because you just want to see authenticity. You want to see and you want to hear authenticity, on Sunday morning. And it's kind of, and not saying that, because there are mega churches that I believe they give that authenticity. It's just, this is just the perception. That video, that's why I wanted to show this video, because not to bash mega churches, but to show the mega church. This is what a lot of people perceive a mega church as. And it's hurtful, because that's, these are our brothers and sisters in Christ, and they're trying, as much as I don't know if they're really trying to push the message of Jesus, the message of God out there, but, this is what they should be, instead of having this perception on them, and it's more so that why I wanted to, I think it's a funny video, but at the same time, it's kind of hurtful,
Well, when you really break it down, dude, I mean, the fact of the matter is, big buildings require big money. Big sound systems require big money. Big bands require big money, right? And this world runs on money. So when you think about paying $5,000 for a piece of lighting equipment, when you could take that same money, donate it to a good cause, right? Fund a missionary for a year with it, or whatever, right? Be a major donor for a missionary. You start to think, why a mega church? Why would you spend $5,000 on a piece of lighting equipment?
Well, that's what's attracting people to come. To me, in my opinion, that's what's attracting people to come, and those people that are coming, that they're funding that, like, because they're happy to come and see that, I guess.
Yeah, they want to get into
double-edged sword, bro. You're not gonna have these dollars, these endless dollars available to you, if you're not producing some content that people are attracted to want to give to. Do you know what I'm saying? It's a double-edged sword. It's something hard to
Right, but that it sort of brings me back to my original point, right? Are you working to provide an experience rather than, a true, like, a true gospel experience, or are you just trying to give them, a show? Because here's the thing, God doesn't care about how entertained we are.
Oh yeah, I understand that, but like how can you have it both ways though? Is what I'm saying. Like
That's
Yeah.
a Gen,
Well, it's
you can't
easy.
have
It's
people
easy.
Gen X are talking.
you can't have one guy, one guy in a tiny little building preaching and trillions of people giving money to this guy, and him be able to disperse it to all these like things that you're talking about. You can't have that on the same hand as.
So let me throw a little curveball in all this. I've always been I don't want to call it a fan, but I've always admired Life Church and Craig Groeschel, and
How big are they?
probably the biggest church. They have like 56 locations, probably over 100,000 in attendance every weekend. Probably a little bit more than that on Easter and all those days. But I say that because they actually were the ones who started the YouVersion Bible app, okay, which takes a lot of money for this thing to go. It started, if I'm looking at some of the stats here, 2008, it looks like is when it started.
Like right when Facebook was around. Yeah.
Yeah. 2008. There's over 3,000 languages in it. It collaborates with over 4,600 ministries, and it's been downloaded 47.9 million times. Since its inception. And again, an app that at that scale, that big, running that many features, kind of all of the above, does take money and can only be done with somebody with deep pockets, with a ministry that's able to provide that. And so, in my opinion, that's something that the world needed. It was a universal app where we can all hop on and anybody could read the Bible across the whole world, being that, cell phones became a thing with Gen Xers. We saw that.
Yeah. And I mean,
but
and
it took a lot of funding, all that to say.
that's a
And
big
it
deal.
continues to take a lot of funding for it to work,
And,
to operate.
and even Brooke, my daughter, she pulls devotionals out of that U Bible. So it's that's an amazing tool. That's an amazing thing that's a really useful, and it's an amazing thing that a mega church is doing. I mean, that's something that is useful. Absolutely.
When I think of a mega church, though, I think of a building, like I think of a Lakewood church. I think of a building that seats 20,000 people.
Well, mega church is considered anything over 1,800.
Yeah.
So they're quite not that big when we go. These are like ultra, churches.
But I guess the point that I'm trying to make is, the Life Church that you're describing to me doesn't fit a prototypical description of a mega church outside of its membership numbers, right? So
Yeah.
if they planted 56 campuses, to me, every campus is probably their own church. They probably have their own sub community. They probably have their own sub leadership.
Yep.
Right. So each one of those
Campus
campuses, to
pastors,
me,
their own worship leaders, their own,
to me, that's not a prototypical, what I would call a mega church, other than the fact that, they're all called Life Church, right? They may have some administrative efficiencies that they take advantage of as a result of having so many campuses.
Yeah.
But when I think of mega church, I do think of the bigger, the bigger building churches that just keep investing in this one campus. They keep, pouring money into this building that just gets bigger and bigger and bigger and higher and fancier and, all this stuff. And to me, I think it's unnecessary. I do.
Yeah.
LeBeau asked the question, well, how can you have both ways? Well, here's the thing, dude. When somebody is truly seeking God, they're not going to need a loud sound system to find God.
No, I'm not saying
You
that.
know, and when it's time for you to meet God in terms of in your lifetime, not so much when you die, but in your lifetime, you're going to meet God on the street corner. You're going to meet God in your shower. You're going to meet God in your car listening to Taylor Swift, because it's time, right? God, it's
I don't know
time
if
for you
you're
to
gonna
meet
meet
God
God
because God
listening to
has,
Taylor Swift.
well, maybe, I don't know. I mean, you know, whatever the
And
case
that
might
she's a
be.
witch.
Taylor Witch.
But my point
I
is,
didn't say that. That wasn't me. Allegedly. I
but
don't want to get sued.
my point is, you know, all that stuff just seems so inconsequential in the sense of spirituality, you know, and I feel like that was some human's idea to reach more people. Oh, if we make things louder, if we make things more colorful, if we make things more modern, we're going to reach more people, right? That's like a guy's idea. That's not God's idea. You know what I'm saying? And this is my opinion, by the way. This is a podcast. I'm not a politician. So
No,
I
I
am going to give my honest opinion. And this is my opinion. So, you know, that's just the fact of the matter. It's like, you know, I think it's unnecessary. I think that a lot more good can be done with those millions of dollars that are going into all of this stuff. And maybe some viewers out there want to argue with me. I'm happy to argue. Let's argue.
I think
Put
the
your
ones that
comments
you're,
down. I have no problem with it.
yeah, I think the version that you're talking about, I would agree with. I would agree
Yeah.
with that version for sure. For
And
sure.
I think it is a topic that people are interested in. I think in the years of following of being followers of Christ, between all of us, kind of giving our input and what we thought about it, I think it is pretty valuable, you know.
Agreed.
Yeah, good topic. I'm sure we'll circle back to something close to that at some point. But Vince,
Yeah.
why don't you close us out with an influencer that you love?
So I just wanted to I want to start this this subject. I want to do this weekly. So this week, you know, with TikTok being banned and people were like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna lose my platform, I'm gonna lose my this might be the way of me making money at the time, you know. I mean, so it's cool to see like TikTok still going on, and you got these influencers who are doing different things, and this dude right here, dude, makes me smile. You know, you have a bad day, this is one of those dudes that just make you smile because it's just great. So this is my influencer of the week. Next one, I don't know his name. His name is, it's 86 hands is his handle, but
86 hands.
86 hands is his handle on TikTok, and
It's a great day for some Chick-fil-A.
yeah.
He has the word hands in his handle.
Yes.
Wow, look how big these waffle fries are. Ooh.
This is his video eating
Spicy chicken sandwich time.
Oh, dang. How's he going to do this? Hold on. Okay. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness, dude.
That stupid tap.
Dude, the taps.
Dude, he was probably the freaking champion at video games with that.
Dude,
With
he
that
has
speed.
some. So he has some great videos.
Remember
That-
Joe? How Joe used to do that like all loud, like
Yeah. So yeah, I want to just make sure I get it right. That way, if you want to go check out his other videos, Where is this guy? Oh, okay.
Do you
So,
guys
yeah,
have influencers?
It's 86 hands. That's
86
his handle. 86 hands. He has a bunch of videos, and his taps are like his signature move. But dude's doing his thing. I mean, it's like, man, don't let anything hold you back. Just do your thing, and he's got like millions of followers. So kudos to that guy. And he's probably happy that TikTok continued.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely.
But yeah, guys, so who wants to be the next week finding a cool influencer that you guys like video?
LeBeau does.
Okay, I could bring an influencer next time.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
for
right.
sure. I got a few in mind already, so.
All right,
Nice.
you
Bobby
bring it.
Althoff. Bobby Althoff.
Dude, who's
Bobby
this Bobby Althoff?
I don't know who that is, but
Look her up.
we'll see.
Look her up.
I'll look it up.
All right. I like
It's not cinnamon either.
Dude, you still haven't worn your cinnamon shirt. What's up with that?
I know. Did I not wear it?
No, you haven't worn it yet.
Period?
Does it fit?
I don't know. I can't remember.
No, maybe it doesn't
it
fit.
did.
Maybe
I'm
that's
sure
why you're
it
not
did.
wearing it.
I'm gonna wear it. I'll try to wear it next week.
All right. Let's do it. All right, fellas. It's been good. We'll see you all in internet land on the next one.
Stay away from mega churches.
Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe.
Peace.
Like, share, subscribe.
See ya.